Okay, so welcome. We were going to do the live today, but we've got a lot of things going on. So, Water Bear Medicine is joining me. We're going to do what we call a pre-live. And what that means is we're going to be talking about the fractured New Age, how the New Age has been fractured. And so it's important that we realize that the New Age movement is as fucked as any other religious order. Hang on for a quick second. Let me find you, Water Bear. Okay, I'm adding you as a guest. Okay, great. Hopefully there won't be any echo. But if there's echo, you can, Water Bear, you can come in as a guest or you can come in as a co-host. Just do what you gotta do. For some reason, I just sent you the invitation. It's not coming up. Thank you, Gemma Butterfly, for liking the live. That's very kind of you. So this live is going to be a short live. It's a post live for the. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. We're going back to the Aubrey Marcus. Why aren't you coming on as a guest? What the fuck is going on? Hang on. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, and I'm excited to be with Water Bear Medicine. He is a divine masculine on the journey. So I'm always honored to speak with you and to share thoughts. Please just take it away, Water Bear.
Hello there. Yeah, thanks very much for collaborating with me on this. So we've talked before about this situation with the Aubrey Marcus and his partners. And what I want to bring about here is kind of an introduction to a longer live we're going to do tomorrow. Mm-hmm. That when you're talking about divine union, you're really talking about the healing of the masculine in the man and the feminine, and then the same in the woman. So you get the balance of energies. Mm. You heal and get in alignment with the heart, the mind, and all the energy centers become in alignment. And what I'm noticing is they're not doing integration. Mm-hmm. There's a lack of awareness. What do you think about that? Are you noticing the same thing?
I absolutely agree with you, and that's why and we're not here. By the way, we're not here to agree with each other. We both have different points of views, but they're very important to share, especially because the way we're wired mentally, right? But what we did see, and what we're seeing in the New Age movement, is a hijacking, and I didn't really notice it because, like many of you, I was in my spiritual journey for decades, right, and surviving. Working for people, and so it never occurred to me what was going on and who was going to Burning Man and how there was a hierarchy in Burning Man. For example, and Burning Man is a microcosm of what's been going on with the fractured reality of the New Age movement. This is why I've been putting distance between myself, and I call it ancient wisdom. But what is interesting about what Water Bear is talking about is the integration of medicines, the integration of sexuality, the integration of root chakra trauma. All of these things, there are certain people in the elite level of the hierarchy in the New Age movement. And this is not to keep beating up Aubrey Marcus. This is not, but I hate to say, but he's actually put himself out there. Okay. So, and we're seeing the deviant pathways of the masculine when they don't integrate nothing. They're so busy plugging women that they don't integrate. They don't go to, okay, let me put it. Do you know how people fast on water for like 7 days to heal their bodies? Okay.
Yeah.
He has never fasted on pussy to heal his body. That's the problem. And that's why he can't integrate.
Yeah. Abstinence is absolutely crucial. It's not a perpetual thing. If you're in divine union, then what you're talking about is having met somebody and aligned in mind and heart and all the energy centers, then the divine union, the sanctification of that divine union becomes the gift, the divine gift to your partnership. You see, what I'm noticing is when you've got these corrupt virtues and they're focusing too much energy on the lust, on that root chakra and the corruption of the feminine heart, right, when that's not being honored, when the safety of that is not being honoured. And it's when you look at the history of people and what they go through, you can see where their wounds are. And I'm noticing that wounding in these partners. And unfortunately, we all have to heal our wounds, but it creates a kind of blind spot. You don't notice what you're not seeing.
Right.
You see, you don't see where you're being. I mean, it's a betrayal, really.
Right.
But when neither he nor she is available to be aware of it, what happens?
Yeah. Well, it's a collapse. And so when most people do, when raw pain is experienced, it's not something that you just do for a day or a week. It's something that could take years to process raw pain of a betrayal, pain of someone cheating on you, pain of a sexual trauma as a child. All these things it's not something you just, oh yeah, I'll be fine, and you go on. You have to carefully maybe put it aside so you can survive. The business of survival while you go through, your daily, you're doing your daily spiritual practices as best as you can as you're handling, keeping your head above water. So when somebody like Aubrey Marcus, who has been given by the universe wealth, massive, insane amount of money, the kind of money you don't have to ever worry about, where all your payments are on automatic pay, okay, that kind of shit, that kind of money, and beyond. And you can have trips to Egypt, and you can do this and that. There's actually no reason not to integrate, because you can actually take a year off. You can actually say, I'm stepping back. Kind of like what happened with Lenny Kravitz. Lenny Kravitz went celibate. The man is fucking gorgeous. He could get any fucking bitch he wants. And he says, I'm waiting. And I think he's waiting to heal, because I'm going to be honest with you guys about something. I'm not a big fan of ChatGPT anymore, except for do your resume, figure out your business, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But I did ask ChatGPT, I said, I need you to tell me, find the best practices, the best, most honest feedback on what happens when we have multiple partners through the root chakra, right? Obviously, sexual union. And I said, and please tell me I'm wrong, okay? And I might actually read it in tomorrow's live. But it went back to me and said, the root chakra cannot integrate properly at the pace of having multiple partners. Did you hear what I just said? It said.
Yeah.
It's right. So what are your thoughts on that? Where the root chakra is getting sluggish because it can't take 5 people. And
so we already know that the reflection of Aubrey Marcus was that when one of his female partners, I'm not going to say which one, it's not important, went with a different male partner, it caused him an immense amount of pain that he had to say, in his words, integrate. Yeah. But you see, if he was already integrated, that wouldn't even be a concern. But the biggest challenge of all of this is I don't think you can reconcile. What you're really doing there is kind of like abandoning your morals and virtues to have an experience with someone else. And what do you know about them? How long have you spent aligning your values, morals, energy in your heart and your awareness, your insight, your discernment? All of those things are what bring you into divine unionship with somebody. So having that, for me, is a real problem. You're talking about corrupting all the work that you've done because of lust, because of desire, and it's not aligning with the path, the energy centers of the you don't even have to talk about energy centers. If somebody is in awareness of that phrase, just say, if the meeting of the mind and the heart aren't there, the relationship has no meaning. It's a transitory, it's like having a hamburger. It's like having a milkshake. It doesn't have any value. Do you know what I mean? It's just a satiation tool. There's no nutrition in it.
Right. Well, what's funny, but what I don't understand, if you're really spiritual, is all of us have experienced walking into a room and getting bad vibration immediately, or meeting a person and getting a bad vibration. Just meeting them. They're fully clothed. You're fully clothed. These people, anyway. And there's all this energy of negativity. You walk into a room, you feel it. You meet a person, you feel it. So imagine, you're meeting a girl that's hot. We're gonna or a man that's hot, and you have no idea their sexual background. You have no idea what they're into, what they've done, if they're into inappropriate explorations. Let's just put it that way. And now you're going to have sex because, you know, it's a one night stand situation and they've dropped all their toxic shit into your root chakra and you're completely unaware because you don't know who they are. Imagine having sex with a serial killer. There you go. Now I'm just going to say it. And you have no idea because they're hot. They're hot. Okay. And you go home and then you drop that sexual energy into your beloved because, you know, you have an open relationship. And this is what people don't understand. Trust me, I love sex. I think sex is fabulous. I've had my share. But the problem that people don't understand, and I didn't understand when I was 17, you know, 17 and a half, is that you just don't, and I'm not a proponent of keeping your virginity like it's a fucking holy grail, trust me. But my point is, but don't drop into the lap of any asshole. Like understand that your first sexual experience and following that should be beautiful, clear, bright. It should heal you, not drag you down. And you're not even aware that half the shit you're dealing with trapped in your root chakra isn't even yours. It was dropped by. So it's a spiritual STD. And that's a problem. And this is what Aubrey, and so you can take ketamine, this and the other, and bury that understanding and that ability to, integrate. You can't integrate if you're fucking high. You can't integrate if you're constantly fucking playing with various types of cocktails of synthetic plant, synthetic plant medicine, if you get what I'm saying, and plant medicine. You can't. Plus you're fucking all kinds of broads. Plus you're watching your partners being it rewires the brain in such a way that I'm blown away by how this is, to me, it's common sense. To me, he's old enough to know better. He's not 20. He's in his 40s. And he's been around the world. You would think he would understand this. And why are we using it? Well, because he's the one talking about it. You don't hear Billy Carson talking about turning out his Elizabeth to various partners. You're not hearing that at all.
So
yeah,
I'd love to talk about shame for a minute because Gemma Butterfly mentions it. And when a feminine tries to honor the man, the masculine that they're with, because they feel connected and loved, and they want to please that man, they want to love him, they want to honor him. And when he betrays their heart by dragging them into a situation where they have to betray and abandon themselves, it creates this shame, which is really a projection of the man's desire onto you. They've lusted after somebody else and abandoned your heart. And that's the shame. The shame is, I can't believe that I hurt myself like that. It isn't, it is, if you've done something like that, it is not your fault. Yes, you are responsible for the actions you took, but it was them that put you in that unimaginable, difficult choice, a difficult decision.
Exactly. And you have to ask yourself, when slut culture came out, where I'm a slut and books were written about how to be a slut in 100 days, whatever, right? The thing about the slut culture is that when I talk about slut culture, yes, I'm talking about women, but I'm also talking about men. And what's interesting is that a body count is a body count is a body count. It doesn't matter if it's men or women. I had a friend, didn't last long. It wasn't that we had a fight. It was that we grew apart. But she had 4,000 lovers. But you know what? All my friends who have been kind of in that realm, men or women, they've all been sexually molested children. All of that had that history. Just so you know. People who actually have a good childhood, they're rare, by the way. They're rare. They're fucking sexually balanced, I gotta say. I've yet to meet them fucked up sexually. That shit harms people, and that's what you have to work on. If you're going to get integration into your sexual energy as an adult, you need to realize what happened to you, and you need to fucking face it and heal it. And then you will be able to integrate your new sexual power in a way that's healthy and balanced. What are your thoughts on that?
So the lack of integration that we're noticing is the avoidance of reflection. It is avoiding perhaps doing the inner child work and seeing where these desires came from in the first place. And Jennifer mentions, what about midlife crisis? And this is a very similar thing. If you notice what's happening, in order to satiate his desires, to placate the the soul's desire to go within, to understand why that is occurring, he's choosing to seek the easy option, which is to satiate that lust, when actually what is required is understanding where that's coming from. Is it because he's concerned about abandonment? Is it because he's not really feeling loved, that he doesn't want to commit to one person, because that ultimately leaves your heart open to the biggest risk of abandonment?
Right.
And when you love yourself and realize God is the only one that fulfills your heart completely, then you can open your heart and love one without fear. And this is the challenge. The lack of integration is causing, in my view, is causing him to have this kind of midlife crisis, this need to kind of satiate his every desire to avoid confronting his fears. I hope that gives a good reflection.
I think it's excellent. I think what you're saying is excellent. That's exactly, and the sad facts is that there are very little of us who have not gone through some kind of sexual trauma as children. That's the problem. I can't tell you how many male clients I've worked with that they were able to open up with me and tell me exactly details what happened to them, and it's shocking how common and how supposedly benign it is. You know what I'm saying? And so what I'm going to say is that ultimately what we're seeing is a man, right now who's publicly spoken about his sexual practices and who claims that he doesn't want to say, tell us what to do. But one of the things that came up, and I'm going to bring it up again in the live tomorrow, is he felt witch hunted. And he compared himself, and his ex-fiance compared himself in a witch hunt. And I took great offense. A great offense in that. How dare he? Here, why? Well, because when people were hunting witches and warlocks, some of them were actually witches and warlocks, but some of them were herbalists, midwives. Some of them were beautiful, handsome. Some of them were being accused of things, and they just wanted the land. That was very common, to kill a person off to get that land. The farmer wanted that land, so they would accuse you of witchcraft, or as a midwife, there was a stillborn, and whatever the hell it was. And they were burned. At this stage, they were beaten. They were abused. Joan of Arc was essayed during her trial. It's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? And so this pity party, woe is me, I'm a victim. When you're seeing, and not once did he talk about what he did to his wife. Not once did he talk about the fact that he walked in promising monogamy and turned around and flipped the switch. But one of the things...
That's the betrayal.
That's the betrayal. But I do also want to say, guess what? There's a prenup where none of them get any money if they leave him. And he said, now I know they're with me they're not with me for my money. They're here for me. I'm going to say he's stupid.
So
no, but let me.
I don't know that for certain. I heard something different. I remember hearing him say he didn't, but then maybe that's just gaslighting. So it's possible.
No. I heard him literally say on the episode of his response that he literally said, none of them have the prenup we have is there's no money if they leave. So now I know they're with me for me. They love me. And I'm like, is he 12? They're with you for your money. If you were giving them $30,000 each per month and they were able to hold on to that money, in about 5 years, they'd have $500,000 or more. And at that point, they're there for the minute they leave, they're back to square one, trying to find a job, trying to pay their bills. The level of nonsensical shit he's saying is alarming as an influencer in the New Age community. He can't even figure out if they're broke when they leave, they're better off staying. They're getting lifestyles that many people will, in fact, 99% of the planet will never experience. Okay? And then they would be left with being with men who make at best $150,000 a year. At best. At best. And that's never going to get you on a private jet. That's never going to give you on a private barge and a private tour to Egypt and a private this and a private that. It will never bring that back to you. So this is something that, again, here we go again with the women being brought to their knees with financial resources because women are scared. Okay, I don't see Villana living her life the way she's lived. and then going back to being your basic girl. She has about 24,000 people that follow her on YouTube. That does not bring you an income. Not the kind of income she's living now, with a Black American Express. And that's real. And because at the end of the day, I saw a content creator saying, if the guy was working at Walmart, would they pick him? And the answer is, we don't have to be stupid. We all know Aubrey Marcus isn't all that in a bag of chips. The answer is no. If he was working at Walmart, if he was working as a software programmer making 125,000, they would not. No, they wouldn't do this arrangement. They can get another man making probably more who would want to be monogamous with them. So it is about money, and they won't honestly talk about the fact that there's a financial massive perk to saying, okay, fine, bring in some other bimbo and have other bimbos on the side as well, and I need to integrate that into myself. There's no truth to that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It almost feels like the history of. So I understand that he has had some history in wild exploration of, carnal matters. I'm trying to use words so we don't get banned. And then he's also had the polyamory experience with his wife or partner, Whitney, and they went along with different partners, and she was very hurt by that relationship and didn't heal for ages afterwards. Right. And she even did an offline YouTube video that wasn't shared publicly. And because of the groups I was in, I found it, and I remember sharing it with you. And it's so interesting, as you listen to that, you see the pain and the trauma. And I listened to a video that Yolana recorded over a year ago, and one of the sentences she said in that, and this is kind of like the red flag of the people pleaser confession. The people pleaser confession. Like, she wants to be loved so much that she will do whatever she needs to do, abandoning her own needs, silencing herself when she knows she should be speaking up. These are the words she said. The reflection from the masculine was lying, cheating, and betraying. And saying, I don't choose you. And that happened in relationships before. She kept getting cheated on. And the trauma was she didn't feel chosen. And we see the same, if you like, call it the karmic wound coming up again to be healed, where she's finding out she's not being chosen again. And so I do wish her the best. I hope that she does find healing and some way to to get what she wants. That's the best I can say.
No, I mean, but the thing is, she's surrounded by cult members. There, you don't have to be in an official cult to be in a cult hive mentality, where everyone is telling the emperor who has no clothes that he has clothes. And so he's surrounded by yes people. He's surrounded by people on the payroll. He's not surrounded. Even his shamans, maestro this, and he talks about these shamans. A real shaman would have called him out on the shit and said, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? See, and that's something that as a healer, a real healer, is that I'm hearing a noise. What is that? I'm hearing the noise.
Oh, by tapping, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
So no. I was wondering. Anyway, the concept of this brutality that we all witnessed, many of you didn't see it, but many of us who saw it, she was being brutalized. And she was brutalizing herself. She was not caring for her little girl. What I do with clients is I tell them to tell their little girl or little boy, in this case, we're going to talk about Vilana's little girl. That little girl still feels unsafe. And Vilana now has to be the parent that Vilana never had. And she has to turn her little girl and say, no one will ever harm us again. No one will ever betray us again. We will find a partner that makes us feel safe. We will not push out my edges again and again. Every time, and she was crying at one point, every time I finally get comfortable and I accept a new rules of engagement, I collapse. And here we go again. And he never gets to fucking harness his dick. Never. The conversation has never been, hey, dude, every man has a fucking drive, especially athletes that have testosterone's off the charts. And there are men out there who are testosterone driven, who holster their dick. You don't. So you're not advanced, my friend. You probably need to fast on sex for probably a year. Oh, I go insane. Yes. Ask yourself why you would go insane. Can you meditate and be in silence for an hour? Because if you can't sit in meditation for an hour, without losing your mind, then maybe everything you've been telling people, you need to at least do some of your own practices. And he's not. He's not doing any of it.
Yeah. So Jennifer says, I think she said yes to Polly to gain control over who he's with. I mean, there you go. So that veiled method of gaining control by not actually being honest was something that she even owned up to in the previous interview a year ago that I'd watched today. Just highlighting the kind of patterns that we all get to choose whether we want to speak openly or choose manipulation and veiled ways in which to control and protect ourselves.
Yeah, but this is classic women. That's classic women. Women always do the following, that are afraid of losing their men constantly. One is that they'll allow threesomes, not because the threesomes are, I'm sorry, there's a lot of noise, Mark. I'm sorry.
It's not me. I'm not making any noise.
Really? I was hearing it. Okay. So the women always do the threesome thing to say, okay, well, I'm not what you really want. I mean, I love you and I want to give you what you want. So I'm going to gift you a threesome. I'm going to gift you a young woman. It's usually a young woman. And that's one. Number two, to control, like Jennifer said, to control who's in the fucking bedroom. That's a classic. That goes back thousands of years. That's a class. So that's a lack energy. It's a lack energy. It's a fear energy in the root chakra, lodged in the root and sacral, which is massively problematic, because when you're having problems like that in those chakras, you cannot create art, work, downloads, healing, poetry, music, liberation, freedom, more creativity in different ways. You can't, because it's all blocked. There's this massive cement. It's cementing inside of you. What also is going on when women do these open relationships is the third one is they enjoy it. They're bisexual. They like having a woman in bed with their man. They enjoy that. And this is something that, but these are the three reasons. And guess what? In every three reasons that I've watched, whether I've watched it through influencers or people writing about it or my own circles of friends, it's never lasted. It never lasted. It fucking tanks the relationship every fucking time. The relationship ends. I want to kind of tell you a story about this and how that works with a relative of mine. Very successful businessman. He's a relative. And his girlfriend and him always had threesomes. Always had threesomes. Always. 6 years of relationships. She was awesome. And one day, he decided to fuck some chick while he was on a business trip, and his girlfriend kept calling him, and he would not answer the phone call. And she knew. And it destroyed their relationship. It was like, as long as he was honest, it was okay. But he was basically not answering. He was being passive aggressive, narcissistic. And it destroyed their relationship. It exploded. It was ugly. So even then, women tend to, then even when they're open-minded and so forth, they will come to the point where they're like, you're lying to me, you're not answering the phone, you're my lover, I've given everything you wanted, and now you're going to betray me. It's a betrayal. What are your thoughts on those kinds of scenarios? Because women are constantly giving and giving and giving.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, and I'm literally writing this right now, it's so important to discern early on in a relationship what your needs are and to communicate them. Do it before you get so committed that you feel like you've got so much to lose. If you can be honest with a partner before they become important with you about what your needs are, about what your intentions are, when you meet with this is why meeting with them, it's odd, right? Spiritual connection is what brings you together. It's called divine timing, right? That's what brings you together. Then you have a meeting of the minds and heart and all the other energy centers. Yeah. But it's the last thing to connect you should be the root, the X, right?
Yeah.
It's so obvious to me that what's happening is the reverse of what we should be doing. When we're in alignment with what God's will is, the divine alignment of what we're meant to do, meant for, the best thing for us is what God wants, what divine wants, what spirit wants for us.
Yeah.
And so whether that's Jesus Christ that you believe in, whether it's Buddha, whatever it is, they want what's best for you. That God that you share in your faith is what wants you to have the best. So when you walk in alignment, right, the things that are for you show up. And if you're clear with your intentions, then there is no distortion of truth. And if you're rejected because of your truth, then what's going to happen is what will be in alignment will show up. Are you with me? Please, what I'm saying is quite dynamically different from what people are perhaps used to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, just be honest. And
we can see your feet, by the way. I don't know why we can see you. Yeah, we can't now. They've gone.
Okay, so no, we have to go. But this is like the beginnings of the beginnings of the conversation.
It is.
I have to cut it short because I've got a client. But I wanted to thank you. And if you guys want to watch the whole live, it's tomorrow at 2:00. We're going to do the whole live today. But there's a lot of things going on today. It's like a weird energy today. I don't know if you guys are feeling it, but it's not the weather. It's an energy, and it's very exhausting. And so I don't know. I mean, if you guys are feeling anything, you're not alone. If you're not feeling it, thank God you're not.
Yeah, and, I'm open to questions and advice and help, and obviously, you know, I do. You know, I can do coaching and advice and help, and obviously, Sacred Intimacy Tarot is open for readings and for guidance.
Yeah. No, I mean we're in a good place right now. We are at a good place. I know it looks like a shit show, and I feel like there's a lot of evil being exposed, a lot of deviancy, a lot of fractures, and it's all a win-win because now we get to clean house. It's kind of like looking at the stain in your carpet and not taking a brush to it to clean it away. We're cleaning.
I agree. The darkness is coming to light to be healed, to be cleansed.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this change. I really am. I just feel like we need to just sometimes rest. There's a lot of weird psyop shit like bed rotting and all kinds of shameful comments on how you shouldn't do this. You should bed rotting. No, bed resting, supine, taking your time, doing nothing, get in your hammock, get on your blanket in the sun, and walk barefoot in the rain, do whatever the fuck you need to recalibrate because the energies are really getting amped up, and we are being asked to speak. We're being asked to stand in our power and in our own integrity. And what these people in the New Age community who speak softly and talk about mindfully uncoupling and words. There was something, I might actually read it to you guys out loud. I sent it to...
I think you should. It's really good. I've got it here, but please read it.
No. Do you want to read it? Why don't you read it to them? Coming from the masculine voice, I think it would be fabulous. And I might record my own version, but go ahead and read it.
Was that Aubrey Stop the BS? Did it start like that?
No, I think so. But no. It was a guy that said polyamory, uncoupling... it had all kinds of sentences.
Okay. Just give me a moment. I'm going to find it.
Yeah, please.
I know which one you're talking about now.
You will fucking pee in your pants. It's so funny. It was the funniest shit I've ever read. I was like howling.
No, sorry. Now I can't find it.
Okay, let me get off. Let me.
There's so many messages that we share with one another that we can't find the message that we want me to read. Yeah, it's so sad when a divine feminine can't speak up about her needs because she's worried about being rejected. But that is exactly what happened, right? And we understand that she's kind of using all the tools she can to stay in the connection that she wants. And even though she has to sacrifice something, she's also potentially losing what she really wants, which is the kind of innocence and the connection she wants is to be the one that's cherished, the one that's chosen. But unfortunately, she isn't really, because now she's only 50% chosen, and that's deeply hurtful. It might not be something that she's consciously aware of, but it would be something that you'll later reflect on and go, I just should never have gone into that relationship knowing his past. And that's the discernment. If you know you don't want to be with somebody that might want that, and they've done that sort of thing in their past, yes, she wants safety. Why wouldn't she want safety? That is exactly the key thing. If you can't, as a masculine, be there, present, holding space, making the space safe, then why would you expect to be nurtured and loved back in return? That's the feminine provides the safe, nurturing, sacred space where you feel loved in that kind of bosom womb environment, right? Sorry, I don't know the other words to use, but it's so obvious that if you don't get the honor, that desire, that safe space, and offer that to the feminine, then she's not going to be giving you that nurturing in return. Did you find it?
Yeah, I just sent it to you via WhatsApp and your other.
Got it. Okay, so I'm ready to read.
It's such a pain in the ass, I swear to God. Sometimes my son demands.
It's okay. I'll read it and then it's time to go. That's great.
All right, brilliant.
If it's got any swear words, I'm going to abbreviate to F instead of the FUC, etc. So
no, say it like it was written. Just say it. Fuck it.
Okay, all right. You don't think it matters. All right then. Polyamory wasn't the problem. My avoidance was. I was spiritually enlightened and emotionally fucked by Zen Prem. When I was hitting the tantra scene some years back, just after my third marriage broke up, I genuinely thought I'd found the holy grail of conscious sex. Cacao ceremonies, breathwork orgasms, eye-gazing with women named starseed under moonlight while chanting mantras with our genitals. I was deep. Then someone said the word polyamory, and like a dick in a crystal shop, I was in. I thought I could handle it. I mean, I was a healed man, right? I did shadow work. I knew my love language. Quote Don Miguel, could cry and finger paint my emotions. I was ready. I was not fucking ready. At first, it was thrilling, radical, liberating. A fucking buffet of connection, like monogamy, but with spreadsheets. But under the incense and ethics, what I actually found was emotionally avoidant yoga teachers with throat chakra issues, one-eyed kink coaches on dopamine fasts, a guy named Orion who once ghosted me during a three-way because his nervous system, in inverted commas, got overstimulated by my masculine presence. And in trying to be present, I became performative. There were more feelings than foreplay, more agreements than orgasms, and more Google Docs than intimacy. Everyone had edges, everyone had process. Everyone had at least one lover in Guatemala who was deep in their integration journey. And we didn't break up, oh no, we consciously uncoupled with reverence. We didn't lie, we updated the field latte. We didn't cheat, we renegotiated agreements spontaneously in real time. One woman dumped me by voicemail in the middle of an ecstatic dance. Another said she couldn't be intimate until Venus cleared her Saturn return. A third said she'd love to explore our erotic polarity, but only inside a trauma-informed, non-phallic, eco-sensual container. I don't even know what the fuck that means. I just remember holding a talking stick and sobbing into a yurt while someone lit sage and banged a shamanic drum. Bum, 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 bum. We had colour-coded candles for meetups, consent workshops for consent workshops, and group threads to clarify what thread we were clarifying. I once had a threesome that ended with someone pulling out a clipboard to check in on how that landed for everyone, and ended with a debrief about her and a post-coital feedback loop. But the truth is, beneath all the ethics and the enlightenment, we were just fucking scared. Scared of being fully seen by one person. Scared of the boredom that comes with real emotional presence. Scared of the intimacy that doesn't let you hide behind someone else's expansion. We weren't liberated. We were just fucking busy. Too busy healing our inner child to notice the adult in front of us that was slowly checking out. Eventually,
I cracked. It wasn't the sex. It was the admin and logistics and trying to be conscious enough to handle everyone's trauma like a fucking HR rep for the divine masculine. I didn't need another erotic puja ceremony. I needed a sandwich and someone to hold me while I cried about my ex. So I left the scene. The chat groups, the cuddle puddles, the whole fucking ceremony. Look, I'm not against polyamory, but let's not pretend everyone doing it is healed. Some of us were just dressing up our abandonment issues in linen and calling it non-monogamous relating. And if you need a project management app to track your intimacy, maybe you don't need more lovers. You need a therapist, a nap, and a fucking mirror. And perhaps that's the real lesson. Not that polyamory is wrong, but for me, I was just trying to outrun the intimacy I never learned to sit with. I wasn't expanding, I was scattering. I thought polyamory would be freedom. Instead, it was logistics in lingerie. I wasn't opening my heart, I was performing. I was dodging the part of love that requires actual presence. Anyways, turns out freedom without depth is just a fuckload of admin. You don't need 7 lovers to open your heart. You just need the courage to stay with one when shit gets real. And honestly, that's the wildest thing most people will never do. But that's the real Tantra. Zen Prem.
Brilliant. You know what? You should record that and put it on your. It's
already recorded. You've got it in the live. Just send me the live and I'll cut it out.
No, but I mean, okay. Well, I will. But what I'm saying is, I was kind of. I don't want any sounds of me.
It doesn't matter. Whatever noise you made was going to be absolutely okay with it. It's perfect. It is, and I'm glad I did it, and I hope it was entertaining for everyone.
Very great. What did you guys think of that? Wasn't that incredible? Wasn't that brilliant? I just thought that was absolutely. I was laughing I
just love the way that he gets to the crux of it all.
Yeah.
If you don't have the courage to open your heart to the one that matters and stay with them when the shit gets real, you're never going to get to the jewels of the crown. You're never going to get to the golden goose. You're never going to get what divine love really is. That love that the Buddha, that Jesus talks about when he says, I'm in connection with God. That's where it all is. It's the same thing, right? When I listen to songs now, I want to give you a little insight before we go. Yeah. Sometimes when I listen to old 80s love songs, I don't think of a partner. I think these songs are about God singing to me, about the love that God has for me. You start listening to things from that perspective and it changes your whole life. It will change the way that you see music. Everything is a serenade. Everything is a journey deeper into your heart, into the love that God has for you, to have courage, to go and love, to be and give more.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Bravo. It was wonderful. Thank you all. Thank you. We'll update this one on YouTube. It'll be on Water Bear Medicine's YouTube channel as well. Please follow him.
I will do that.
Yeah. And then follow me on YouTube, because there's a lot more content with Water Bear Medicine that I've done in Andromeda Flame. And we'll see you tomorrow. You know what I mean? Thank you for showing up for us. Oh my God, absolutely. I'm sorry that
it's a pleasure. It's lovely.
No,
well done. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for showing up for me. Thank you.
Well, we show up for each other, my friend. All right. We'll see you tomorrow at 2:00. Namaste. Be well. Goodbye.